Well, Dr. Batis, thanks for very good words. Thank you very much. All distinguished participants at the outset, I am thankful to organizer for giving me this opportunity to talk about probiotic in dairy industry. That is the real sense coming from bench to community. We do all research on probiotics because we are interested to bring this probiotic to the community, and for bringing probiotic to the community, to the consumers, industry is going to play a role. As Dr. Batis said that yes, among all food metrics, be considered, we have sufficient proof, it has been acknowledged widely that among all food metrics, it will be the dairy metrics, it will be the dairy food, it will be the dairy industry. Before I start talking about the spices and, spices for administration of the probiotics, it is not correct to say that not much work has been done on the spices. A lot of work has been done on the spices. All the pharmacological evaluation we have done. Many spices are being used as antibacterial. They are killing the bacteria. So we have to differentiate that a spice which can kill the pathogenic organisms and which can promote the probiotic organisms. I don't think that any spice will have two different actions. One will kill the pathogenic organisms and simultaneously it will promote the multiplication of probiotic organisms. So we have to do a lot of research on effect of probiotics on effect of spices on probiotics. Friends, probiotic dairy industry, when we talk about the dairy industry, yes, certainly we have to see in terms of the money. Good news for dairy industries, probiotic industries, that global market is going to enhance, going to expand like anything, and it will be around 52 billion US dollar by 2020. And in whole world, it will be Asia Pacific region. Maybe Japan is located in Asia Pacific region, which has means nucleus for the probiotics. So Asia Pacific region will be the nucleus for probiotic industry, and we expect that in Asia Pacific region the cumulative annual growth rate will be more than 7%, 7.7% by 2020. From 2012 to 2020, it will be around 7 to 8% cumulative annual growth rate, which is very high for a probiotic industry. In India, if we see, yes, again it is very high cumulative growth rate has been postulated. By 2014 to 2019, it will be around 25% annual growth rate we are going to see for market of the probiotic. Although currently it is at decimal, but by the end of 2015, industry has calculated that by the end of 2015, the probiotic industry will touch the business of around 1.3 billion US dollar. And we all know that these are the international, multinational companies in the market, and these are some local players, including Mother Dairy, Amul, NDRI. So we can see the bright future for dairy probiotic industry in coming years in India as well as in the world. Now, coming to the matrices of the probiotics, that is the biggest question. If we are able to reply this question, I think that will be wonderful for the consumers. Which food matrix is the best for administration of the probiotics? Maybe that we can take as a capsule, as a tablet, as a solution, or in food ingredients. When we talk in the food ingredients, it may be dairy food, it may be non-dairy food. If it is a non-dairy food, maybe bread, cereals, and all these things. In dairy, again, either it is a fermented or non-fermented. For example, if it is a non-fermented, then we may think about the ice cream. If it is a fermented, then dahi, yogurt, cheese, and fermented drinks can be used as a food matrix. When we talk about the fermented dairy products, then probiotics can be administered along with starter or without starter, where we are using probiotic for fermentation only. So with starter and without starter. Fermented drinks as Yakult is having, I think it is without starter culture. It is only fermented with the probiotics. Otherwise, yogurt, dahi, cheese, we are using both organisms. Probiotic organisms as well as organisms which makes the consistency, which we use to call as a starter culture. One thing I would like to clear is that normal yogurt, normal dahi does not have probiotic organisms. It's very clear. It is having only starter culture. But in the presence of starter culture, there are several hundreds molecules which are formed, which are having therapeutic effects or health attributes, health benefits. So if we want yogurt or dahi with probiotics, then along with starter culture, we have to add some strain of probiotic microorganisms in those functions. I always say, still I repeat, that if we talk about an ideal probiotic vehicle, food vehicle, then it is the dairy food. If we see the total functional food era, then 65% of the total functional food is represented by dairy-based probiotic food. Dairy food, excellent matrix which helps in the expression of probiotic functionality. Not only that, we found that there are some genes which are expressed only in the presence of dairy food. When those probiotic organisms are mixed with the milk, yogurt, all these things, only then those genes are expressed. Milk and milk products are having inherent properties because it buffer the gastric pH, acidic pH. So we expect that there will be smooth passage of the probiotic organisms from gastric to the intestine. We always go for refrigeration of the dairy foods. That is further addition for enhancing the shelf life, for enhancing the viability of the probiotics. Consumers are always having the positive perception about the dairy food. So all these points, we can say that yes, it is the best matrix. 3 points I'm taking. Dairy food can protect probiotic bacteria, number one. Number two, refrigeration keeps probiotic bacteria stable and viable. And third, cultured dairy products are a complete healthy package. And these are the three justifications that how dairy food can protect the probiotic bacteria. We all know that many probiotic bacteria are unable to survive in gastric pH, and milk and milk products buffer the gastric pH, acidic pH, so it gives a smooth passage. Refrigeration always enhances the shelf life of the probiotics. And we all know that the cultured dairy products is a complete, there are ingredients in milk, in dairy products, which are going to act not only additive, but as a synergistic along with probiotic functionality. So that will be 1 + 1 is equal to 3. For example, any biomolecules in the milk which is enhancing the immunity of the host cell, any biomolecules of the probiotic which enhances the immunity of the host cell, 1 + 1, it will be 3. So that will be having additional effect because of the biomolecules, because of the food ingredients present in the milk and milk products. Advantage of dairy industry. When we talk about the dairy industry, so what are the advantages of the dairy industry for delivering the probiotics? In dairy food, there are a lot of ingredients which act as synergistic with probiotics. I give one example of lactulose. Later on I will talk, but a lot of work has been done. For example, I have quoted that in New York State University, Buffalo, they have found that lactoferrin is helping in multiplication of bifidobacterium multiplication. Dairy products are also associated with the body building bones, weight management, and all these things. Means so calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, lot of lactoferrins, lot of lactulose, bioactive peptides, all are going to help to enhance the therapeutic effects, health attributes of probiotics if dairy matrix is used for administration of the probiotics. Lactulose. That is the one, I'm taking few examples in the dairy industry which is acting as a synergistic for the probiotics. Lactulose, it is acting as a bifidus factor, and we all know that lactose is present in the milk. When we go for pasteurization or for heating, lactose is converted into lactulose, and lactulose is a bifidobacterial promoter. We always use 0.5% lactulose in infant formula, which stimulate the bifidobacterium, and it helps in the laxative action. 1.2 to 1.5% of the lactulose in diet increase the bifidobacteria, it lower down the pH and inhibit the pathogenic gram-negative bacteria multiplication. So lactulose is one which is having synergistic effects. Other effect of lactulose, if you see, it controls chronic constipation, it induces laxative effect. Salmonella colonization is controlled because of lactulose. Lactulose also inhibit decarboxylation of primary bile acids. It also acts as antitoxin, anticarcinogens. It protects the DNA damage, and it also showed the promising results in the treatment of Sagenal carrier. So probiotic is having therapeutic effects on one hand. In the presence of lactulose and probiotics will enhance the therapeutic effect. 1 + 1 = 3. Second thing is galacto-oligosaccharide. Means oligosaccharide, we all know that it is naturally occurring in the milk, galacto-oligosaccharide naturally occurring in the mother milk. And it is also, means formed through lactose by hydrolysis by the galactosyl transferase enzymes. And if we see the therapeutic effects of galacto-oligosaccharides, again, it enhances the immunity, it enhances the proliferation of bifidobacterium, it helps in the prevention of the cancer because it checks the enzymes, it stops the enzymes which converts procarcinogen into carcinogens. It is helpful in the eczema, in allergy. All these therapeutic effects of galacto-oligosaccharides has been established by pharmacologists. More important, that in the presence of, means when we talk about the yogurt and dahi, in yogurt and in dahi, in the presence of starter culture, some bioactive peptides are formed which are having health attributes, which are having therapeutic effects. That is the fact. In the presence of probiotics, many additional bioactive peptides are formed, which are having additional therapeutic effects when probiotic is administered along with dairy products. That is the, and if we talk about the probiotic, I have enlisted only few more important opioid, antihypertensive bioactive peptides, antibiotic bioactive peptides, prebiotic and probiotics peptides from whey protein and casein, antithrombic, immunomodulating, mineral binding. All therapeutic effect having bioactive peptides are formed in the presence of probiotic microorganisms in milk and milk products. That is the additional point. I would like to inform that last year, the 6 amino acids active peptides have been isolated from curd, from yogurt, which is having the highest analgesic activity, anti-inflammatory analgesic activity, even 7 times more than opium. It is having very high affinity for the opioid receptor. So all bioactive peptides have been isolated from milk in the presence of probiotics, which is an additional advantage. Health promoting effects of fermented probiotic dairy products, there are 2 effects. One direct, because of probiotics, and another one is indirect because of microbial metabolites which are generated during fermentation process, and that we call as biogenic effects. And biogenic metabolites includes many vitamins, protein, peptides, oligosaccharides, organic acids, free fatty acids, all these things that we classify as a biogenic effects. So these are having 2 types of effects, direct and indirect effects. Functional efficacy of probiotics in food, if we talk, the beneficial effects depend on the following factors in the food. Number 1, which probiotic strain we are using, what is the size of consumption. There we have to go for studying the nutrigenomics, level of consumption, because we know that what is the minimum number of the organisms which one should consume, duration and frequency of the exposure, physiological condition of the host consuming that probiotic, and efficacy of matrix should also be taken into account. So these are the factors which will influence the functional efficacy of the probiotic. Then their therapeutic efficacy may also influenced. Cell physiology is altered in response to the culture conditions and phase of the growth. So we have to see that cell physiology should not be altered. Cell surface composition, which is the main issue for host microbe interaction, is also modified. Fitness of the probiotic strains, that also affects the viable number of the functional capacity. So all these parameters are going to affect the probiotic function during processing. So during processing of the food, in which probiotic is there, we have to have a standard of the processing of that one. How does food matrix affect the functionality of probiotics? Yes, in a very simple layman terms, food matrix affects the functionality of probiotics because there are various factors in the food which are having sugar, proteins, pH, fat. They are going to affect the survival of the probiotics in food, and it is going to affect the functionality of the food. For example, if we see the cheddar cheese and yogurt, one example, in cheddar cheese and in ice cream, we may not go for encapsulation. which may not have additional effects of encapsulation in cheddar cheese and ice cream. But in yogurt, if we are going for encapsulation of the probiotics, certainly we are going to enhance the survivability and viability, and it is going to affect the therapeutic effects. So cheddar cheese seems to be better than yogurt as a delivery food for probiotic because cells are better able and resisting the pH, low pH of the stomach. Presence of prebiotics, it also enhances the viability and stability of the probiotic in the products. So if any food matrix having prebiotics, certainly it will be preferred matrix for administration of the probiotics. Manufacturing, we are talking about the dairy industry for probiotics. Manufacturing process also influence the properties of the probiotic bacteria. Different sources of the same probiotic are having altered properties. Let us accept this, let us acknowledge this one, that one microorganisms, if obtained from different sources, they might be having a different pharmacology, they might be having a different therapeutic effects, they might be having a different properties, which is further influenced by the process of industrial production, by the process of the food matrix, in which process food matrix are being made. And we all know that small changes in properties may significantly alter the in vivo functionality. So let us ensure the original property of probiotic strain, because it is very important. Either we are going for clinical test, or we are going for any human study, or we are going for consumers label. Let us maintain the original properties of the probiotic, irrespective that it is obtained from different source, irrespective that it is passing through different technological process, but our point should be that its originality should be maintained. Last point, that there are two issues which we have to address in the industry. Viability and sustainability. That is the technological challenges which will influence our marketing for the industry if we are addressing these two issues. Because we know that there is a minimum viable number which each probiotic strain should have at consumers level. There are two definitions, because in Japan they say that it should be 10 to the power 7 CFU per ml, but in Swiss food regulation they have reduced, that is 10 to the power 6 CFU per ml. But again, I tell that the number of the probiotic organisms is directly correlated with the food matrix. That means spices, if we are administering probiotics in spices, we have to enhance the number of total probiotic organisms. That we have to see that it should be direct correlation with the food matrix number of probiotic organisms. If we talk about some factors which influences the probiotic viability, stability and functionality, there are three factors mainly: stability in product, host parameter, and our large-scale production of the probiotics. For example, if we talk about the host parameter, survival is assured while transition through GIT tract, interaction with host microbiota, host immune response, gene expression on using different food matrix. Again, food matrix also influences the expression of gene for showing the pharmacological effects. And we found that there are some genes which are expressed only in the presence of dairy food in probiotic. Stability in the product, if we talk about the starter culture, moisture content, oxygen, pH, acidity, preservatives, antimicrobial, all these things influences the stability and viability. Production system, if we talk, what are the fermentation parameter, what technology we are using for concentrating, what technology we are using for taking the culture, it is the freeze-dried culture or frozen culture, we are using spray drying. So all these processes are going to influence the stability and functionality of probiotic microorganisms. Few more technological issues which we must address in the industry. Interaction of probiotics with the starter culture. That is the one area which we must take. When in yogurt, we are adding starter culture as well as probiotics. That is there any interaction between starter culture and probiotic microorganisms? Then chemical composition of the product, that is the acidity, sugar content, nitrogen source, mineral, water activity, oxygen content, all going to influence. Probiotic viability is very important during processing stage and during entire shelf life. till it is delivered to the consumers, then damage, injury to the cell during freezing, thawing, all these issues required serious address by the industry. Then encapsulation, when we talk about the further technological improvement which will enhance the viability of the probiotic organisms, encapsulation of the probiotics, we are working on these aspects, that which encapsulating material is the best encapsulating material, maybe casein, maybe whey protein, maybe lipid, maybe alginate, or maybe other nanoparticles. Then in processing of milk, in pasteurization of the milk, high pressure processing and pulsed electric fields can ensure the viability of the shelf life of the probiotic than normal heating and normal pasteurization. Packaging is most important. Nowadays we are working for smart packaging. We are talking about smart packaging. Our packaging material will be having antibacterial molecules, which will be having a sensor based on the number of microorganisms in the liquid, in the food. Automatically antibiotic molecule will be released, so it will divide the residue of antibiotics and it will divide the spoilage of the dairy food. So packaging material which helps in maintaining the viability and survivability of the probiotics is one area where we will be working. Few challenges, lastly few challenges, which industry should address. It is absolutely correct that nowadays the interest of probiotic food is increasing among consumers. It is going out from metro cities to small cities and to towns. Then the economical dimension has to be worked. Price competition between industries, incentive, all this have to be worked. Lot of probiotic products on shelf both in food and pharma stores we are seeing. Labeling, which is an important issue, we have to make our wisdom that what labeling should be done on the probiotic food. What claim be made that is not of the food but of the probiotic organisms. So very intelligent labeling on probiotic food is required. Cold chain, proper storage condition, it is essentially required, and this is the responsibility of probiotic industry, that how cold chain is maintained till it reaches to computer. As a dairy scientist, as a director of NDRI, even I always say that if it is a pasteurized milk, even then I suggest that please boil before drinking. Because when we bring out from the plant, be assured that there is no bacteria, it is free from all these things. But how it is stored, how it is distributed to the consumers, leakage, contamination, cross-contamination, at least plant does not assure. So industry has to assure that the cold chain is maintained, proper storage condition is maintained till it reaches to the consumers, because your all success lies on survivability or viability of the probiotic organisms in this one. Consumer is confused. Lot of questions you will find, that which probiotics for which health condition, which probiotics for which disease condition, which is the best matrix for administration, what should be the dose. So let us address the confused consumers. That is the one issue, that we have to see that which probiotics, how it should be taken, who can take, what is the cost, where we can get, all this let us address, friends. And finally, if I want to summarize this probiotic in dairy industry, dairy-based food, including ethnic fermented products, are promising vehicle for probiotic delivery, no doubt in that way. You take one probiotic, have 100 food metrics, you will find that yes, dairy food is having additional advantage on probiotics, on health attributes. That is no doubt in that. That has been widely acknowledged. Probiotic dairy food can bring, but simultaneously it is not only dairy food which is consumed. There is a spectrum of series of the food. So we have to work in all food metrics as far as probiotic health attribute is concerned. Then probiotic dairy food can bring health and wellness. Hence, motto should be to bring good health, good gut health through probiotic dairy food to as many as people, to build our nation healthy. Probiotic dairy food are food and should not be treated as drugs. Let us convey this message to the consumers, that it is a food, it is not a drug. instead of clinical trial, biomarkers should be identified. Now we are facing a lot of problem in the clinical trial. So let us work on some biomarker which give indication of therapeutic efficacy of the probiotic organisms instead of going on large number of human clinical trials. Can we think some biomarkers as an indicative for therapeutic effect of the probiotic. Friends, I always say that probiotic dairy foods will provide safe and natural approach to combat diseases, and I'm sure that in 21st century, probiotics will enjoy the same place which antibiotics or microbiology was enjoying in 20th century. So I'm sure that if we convey right message in right words, and if we provide probiotics in right food matrix, this dream will be true, that 21st century will belong to probiotics, not for pathogenic organisms, not for microbiology, and not for antibiotics. Thank you very much for your patience sharing. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you,
Thank you, Dr. Srivastava.
If we want to percolate in a smaller town, or in, means in villages, then certainly we know their income, we know their, means expenditure on food. So if we see that 15 rupees, 20 rupees per 200 ml, 100 ml, we have to think, means automatically I think when we will increase the consumer size, industry will think, I was having this meaning. Right.
Dr. Srivastava, as usual, I tell you that it was brilliant. I enjoyed your talk. Dr. Lahiri from Bombay. I would like to know about this Tetra Pak milk which we use on a routine basis, because it helps, a lot of making our life easier in the morning to make a cup of tea or whatever. But do we need to boil it? Because you were mentioning that we should not be, really boil the milk or not.
No, thank you very much. Tetra Pak milk need not to boil. I was talking about the package which we are doing in our plant, that polythene package, because it is very easy get leakage in the polythene package. But Tetra package milk need not to boil. That is sure.
Good morning. And I see a lot of ladies, so happy Women's Day on the Women's Day. So I'm Dr. Grewal from Delhi. We talked a lot about the ideal vehicle for disbursement of the probiotic. Have you given a thought of what would be the ideal outlet of a probiotic? Would it be, when you once say that it is not a drug, it is a food, but in the last slide you also mentioned that the future of prevention of disease would be a probiotic. That's what you see the future. And why I say this specifically is that a mindset has to change, according to me, from being a food to be a disease preventer. Like the condom became from just a family planning instrument to now today being considered a disease preventer. So probiotics, if they have to become the medicine of the future, need to be accepted as a disease prevention tool and not just a food. And in that condition, what would you think is the ideal outlet?
Thank you very much. Till now, probiotic is classified as a health food only, as a nutraceuticals or as a health food. But classifying the probiotic to pharma industry as a drug, you are absolutely correct that maybe after few decades, probiotic also comes in the pharma store. I think, sir. I think to bring at the pharma store, we have to wait for a decades, because there is not sufficient data as far as its packaging is concerned, as far as its survival is concerned, as a pharma drug, as a drug. But till now, certainly it is a food, it is a nutraceutical, it is a health food, it is a, and as far as outlet is concerned, we have to assure that wherever in food outlet it is kept, temperature is maintained till it reaches to the consumers. That is the only one thing I can say.
Actually, Dr. Srivastava, probiotic in food, as you have rightly said, has a different purpose. Sometimes could be used as an adjunct to available therapy. But there are probiotics in the pharma store. They are not delivered in a food vehicle. They are
There are
delivered.
sachets,
They are delivered in
tablets,
sachets. But they have to undergo health claim studies as any drug, and if they qualify, only then they are sold as a health claim. Whereas the probiotic in food may not have a specific health claim, may not have a specific health claim. But what I have a question, like when we were talking of acid resistance, like it was very interesting of Cheddar cheese and yogurt. If we are using natural occurring bugs which have not been manipulated and they are being used as probiotic, this particular thing will be useful. But say for instance cheese, etc. But however, when we are adding own quality bug in the milk as a vehicle or milk products as a vehicle, they could be made acid resistant. So stomach pH will not be an issue there. So so what do you think of the differences in probiotics being delivered as a naturally occurring species? And there you can't manipulate the numbers unless you add something, or added probiotics in the existing milk-based vehicles.
Yeah, it still means if management of acidic pH is not one issue. In addition to that, I tell you that lactoferrin, lactulose, oligosaccharides, series of bioactive peptides, these are the additional advantage when we administer the probiotics in food matrix of the dairy products. May not be, it requires its survivability in the acidic pH because of its nature. That will be the one index. But in addition to that, molecules or the bioactive ingredients of milk will certainly have additional advantage for any species, for any type of probiotics. As far as pharma industry is concerned, yes, absolutely. When we have sachets of lactobacillus, when you have capsule or tablet of lactobacillus, may not be a true drug. It is just to manage. But bringing the probiotic as a drug, either for curative or for preventive, I think we have to generate a lot of data before that.
Sir, even for labeling food supplements, we need to have some data that it is of benefit. So are you aware of any direct head-on trial between yogurt and yogurt with probiotics? What is the direct head-on trial between the health benefits conferred only by yogurt and by yogurt and probiotics?
As far as clinical trial in human being is concerned, I don't think. But yes, in laboratory animals, a lot of clinical trials we have done that it is having therapeutic effects. In laboratory animals, yes, we are having trials. But in human beings, I don't think that we have any trials for that.
I think...
Dr. Ramachandran. We can have one more.
Dr. Ramakrishna from Chennai. Dr. Srivastava, very nice talk, very comprehensive. I was particularly interested in one of your last slides, which said that probiotics are a food and should not be treated as a drug. My question really is that if we do a feeding trial with a probiotic food, does that require clearance by the Drug Controller General, or has that changed now?
I think Dr. Ganguly can reply in the best way, but in a human patient, if we want a feeding trial, it requires clearance.
It is cleared by FSSAI, not drug controller. But probiotic in a satchel with a health claim is dealt with and there are several major trials. If you go to ICMR website on clinical trial, there are several which are ongoing at the moment. And if you go to clinicaltrial.org, that is the NIH site, you will find that large number of trials in humans where the probiotics have been formulated as drugs are being undertaken. But probiotic in food if it makes a general health claim, which is, it doesn't need any trial, but when it makes a specific health claim, it will need a trial, but it will be dealt with the FSSAI. They have formed a separate panel on this, of the approval for the probiotics in food with health claims.
It is easier to get clearance from FSSAI than DCI.
Actually, I would like to say something. Actually, most of the probiotic formulation in food formulations, which are already in the market, so they don't claim any health claim, in the real sense. So just for general health claims. So under this situation, I think that there is no problem. But since there are strains which have some additional benefits, which have therapeutic applications, I think the major issue lies here. And they can be explored as biotherapeutics also. But once you claim that, then it comes under a different kind of control regulatory domain. So then we have to go for the efficacy.
The probiotic in food guys also carry out trials, but they refrain from making a specific health claim. They attach those results of the trials in their documentation, but because the sales will be hit, so they don't make any specific health claim. They exactly go with the general built-up of health, because that's okay with them and that is believed by people, so their sale doesn't drop. But it doesn't mean that they haven't carried out trials. There are a huge number of trials which have been carried out by the probiotic in food products, and these have been published in peer-reviewed journals. And normally this is in the literature, but they refrain from making that kind of a thing, because then they will have to go through a lot of regulatory approvals and other things.
Yeah. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, sir. You have given a food and also food for thought. I'm going to ask you a very fundamental kindergarten school, because doubt has no aging, doubt has no ceiling at all, whether milk has got any antibiotic effect. I rapidly go through, they mentioned milk also got, but how far, how much, I'm not sure whether it is milk, carry on antibiotics or probiotic or immuno. You say 1 + 1 is 2, 3. I can say even 1 + 1 maybe even 4 at times.
Yes, in very simple terms, milk has antibacterial activity. As such, as well as this activity is enhanced several fold when we go for fermentation of the milk. So milk has antibacterial activity. Another thing I would like to clear here in the presence of many industry people, the calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D present in the milk is in the same ratio, which leads 100% absorption of the calcium from the milk. So the advertisement which we see on television by many companies, that how long you don't add calcium or phosphorus or this X product or Y product, the calcium of milk goes waste, it is totally misleading. Milk is only food where calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D is present in the exact same ratio for 100% bioavailability from GIT to the target organs. Milk is the only food which is having conjugated linoleic acid, which act as anti-carcinogens in the children. Milk is only food which is having short-chain fatty acid, butyric acid, which is required for multiplication of each and every somatic cell of the growing children. That's why for growing children, milk is very essentially required. So a lot of therapeutic effects, pharmacological effects of milk has been worked out, has been proved, sir.
Apart from that, raw milk also had, some natural germicidal properties, raw milk. That's why, the old practice was... The old practice was, to apply raw milk, on some wounds. That was the traditional method. So that was due to, that some proteins, lactosane, lactosidane kind of proteins are there, which are naturally evolved, naturally produced by the animal.
please.
So thank you for demystifying the concept of, yogurt is not a probiotic. Actually, it is a starter culture. Now, I ask you a very basic question. See, as a pediatrician, many, children with management of acute diarrhea, still the pediatricians believe yogurt is one of the choice because it may has a probiotic effect, because we know that nowadays the probiotic is used for the management of acute diarrheas. So are we then going back and saying probably yogurt doesn't work in acute diarrheas?
No. I tell that yogurt will work what you feel, what is your concept, absolutely perfectly all right. Yogurt is good for GIT, it controls the diarrhea, number one. Even with the starter culture. But if yogurt is along with probiotic, it will have very additional effects. That's very clear.
Can you just clarify and tell us, just sorry to ask this very basic question, what do you mean by a starter culture?
The starter culture means which can coagulate the protein and which can give the means texture of the yogurt, texture of the dahi, that's all. That is also organisms. Starter culture means which can settle down the milk in form of the yogurt. But during that fermentation process, lot of bioactive peptides, lot of biomolecules are formed which are having therapeutic effects. And if we add probiotics, then it will be again synergistically effect.
Thank you, sir.
Gram-negative bacteria, like E. coli, the way the mothers do the cultures at homes, it may not be the same as what happens outside, or under the cultured systems of yours.
No, it's as a dairy scientist, we say no, it's not true. There is no E. coli. Yes, if it is a contaminated, then it is a different issue. But as such, it does not have any pathogenic organisms.
What the mother does is a very traditional form. It's clean, but not culture-free. I don't know, do you have any cultures done in dahis?
No, I don't think. I don't think, sir, that it's true.
They are killed during pasteurization.
But if there, means during pasteurization, we may take index Mycobacterium bovis as an index organism for pasteurization. And we know the microbiology that Mycobacterium bovis is the toughest organisms to be killed by heat. So we take as an index. If Mycobacterium bovis is not in the milk, it means all other microorganisms, if present in mothers, have been killed.
Sir, what prevents us from doing this clinical trial of yogurt versus yogurt fortified with probiotics? Is there any any question involved in it, ethical question involved in it?
No,
because both these products are well in the market. So you said you have got animal experiments, but animal experiments are not always transferable to human beings. So why don't we do a human trial?
No, absolutely correct. There is, I don't think that there is a much a problem in taking the clinical trials. But only thing as NDRI is concerned that who will take this agenda. Sunita can speak if she has some latest experience in.
Can you provide the speaker?
Okay, Mike, can you provide to Dr. Ganguly? Because that is the one issue, what Dr. Mittal said, sir, that is the one issue.
No, this is with the ordinary yogurt, not fortified yogurt. Dr. M.K. Bhan did a very large trial in the diarrhea. That is that is in published domain. It was a very large trial and very nicely controlled trial. And at that time, the probiotic concept was not that strong. So people believe that yogurt has probiotic properties.
So that is in Indian population?
That is in Indian population, Indian children.
Sir, Madhu Sharma, dietitian from Chandigarh. I just have a question. We know that antibiotics, when given in any case of any condition, when antibiotics have to be used, they can disturb the microflora of the gut. So what about, prescribing probiotics in the form of food by dietitians or even by clinicians? Because I feel that it is generally not practiced. Antibiotics are given, like B-complex vitamins also as prescribed at times. What do you say regarding, prescribing of probiotics as food or even as drugs every time any antibiotic is given for a longer period of time?
Yeah, our objective is that when we administer antibiotics along with pathogenic organisms, it also kills your healthy microorganisms.
Yes, yes.
And we all know that all 70 to 100 trillion microorganisms in our GITs are in balance. So they will kill the pathogenic simultaneously, they will also kill the healthy microorganisms. To compensate that healthy microorganisms, then we prescribe the probiotic microorganisms so that it maintains its colony and it go for adhesion of the intestine and normal activity is again regained. That is the only purpose for prescribing probiotic along with antibiotic therapy or after antibiotic therapy.
Yes, exactly.
Now it is becoming a very common practice and I think it is working, especially after antibiotic therapy. In post-antibiotic period, if you prescribe probiotic, I think you will get better result.
So what about giving it simultaneously during the course of the antibiotic? Will that work within a gap of
That should also work because, means when we go for probiotic classification, their characterization, we also go for antibiotic sensitivity. Yes. And we say that it should not be killed at the MIC level by the all antibiotics. So it also works.
Thank you.
I